Hi, everyone. I thought I'd do a quick video on the passive. So passive in English, going from the active and the passive, and clarifying this just to make sure that everything was okay out of uh, let's go. Let's hop right on in. I'm going to share the screen, and we've got a wonderful um, PowerPoint of sorts. So the passive in English, let's see if this, will this work? I hope it works. Anyway, whether it works or not, here we go. The passive construction in English, let's look at this together. I'm going to give an example, then we're going to talk about things in general. This is an example of going from the active to the passive. And what I want you to notice is that we've got a sentence here. He was digesting a donut. I put digesting there. I'll tell you, I wanted to simplify things a little bit so that we don't have the verb eat here. If you have the verb eat, it becomes an irregular verb, and I just wanted to make things as easy and basic as possible so we can see what's going on a little bit. So as you know, in the passive, what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the donut instead of focusing on the person. So that's the difference between the passive and active. In the active, we're focusing on the person doing or the thing doing, excuse me, the action. But in the passive, we want to focus on something else because we don't want to talk about the person doing it. So you can say problems were made, or mistakes were made is a famous quote. Mistakes were made. We don't know who, we don't want to say who. There were mistakes, right? It's very general. It's a way of talking. It's for adults, it's not for children. Children have a hard time with this. Adults, they understand that sometimes you don't want to point the finger at a person. You want to talk in a more um, indirect way. And so this is an indirect, more polite, right? Things like that. So he was digesting a donut. We've got the donut here. That's going to be our focus, and that's going to be the first word. I want you to look at here. He was digesting. So we have a verb here that has two words, right? So it's a verb with two words. And we're just going to look at the number of verbs. It's always a good thing, especially when you have complicated verb forms. We're just going to count them. So if he was digesting, you could put will. He will be digesting a donut, or he is going to be digesting. So depending on the situation, so he is going to be digesting, that's 5, right? He will be digesting, that's 3. In this case, we have two verbs. Okay, let's move on. So you put donut first, and we're going to delete he. So this part, we're going to delete it, and donut's going to be going in first. We're clarifying, we're, you know, getting this all done, cleaning up, right? We don't need it. Let's take it out. So then we're going to have a donut. We know this. We have all these different verb parts now. Was, digest. We have the ing. And you know that in the passive, you have to add, to put an extra, be and ed. So ed is going to go with something, be is going to be alone, ing is going to go with something, right? So we have was, digest, ing, be plus ed. So you're going to have to try to find a way to put this all together, and you can try things, and different people have different strategies for this. It's not so complicated. Some people kind of feel it and they start writing. Other people want to think about it, but probably you're familiar with English. You're going to put a B in there. So you're going to try to put it. So we have, you're going to be able to do this. From my experience, The problem is really just getting a new sentence that's okay, but it's not technically the passive of the original, right? So that's the thing. It has to be technically the passive of the original. So you could maybe create a new sentence that's fine, right? But it's just that it's a different sentence. So we have a donut, like we said, was, and be plus ing will go well together. Was being, and then we have digest, and then we have the ed. If you look at it, all the parts are there. You've got the ing, you've got the be, you've got the was, digest is here, and ed is here as well. Okay, we're good. A donut was being digested. What a horrible sentence. But anyway, that's okay. That's what it is. And a donut was being digested. That's going to be the answer. And if you count the number of words, 1, 2, 3, that's how many verbs? We've got 3. Originally, we had 2. Now we have 3. So going from the active to the passive, you end up having more, one more. And of course, when you do the reverse, you're going to have one less. Let's continue. The passive voice. So this is more in general. The passive voice is a way to say, just like I was talking about a little bit before, it's a way of speaking indirectly. Sometimes some verbs, like the verb cost, is actually pretty special, and you won't see it. You won't see it in the exercises because cost already is passive included, if you will. It's a verb that has a passive meaning. So we won't bother with that one. Don't worry about it. So why are we using the passive? Well, just like I said before, it's to focus on the object. So if I say, I eat fish, well, fantastic for you, me, very ego oriented. The passive focuses on the fish, on the object. So here, fish is eaten, and that's fine. And why are we using the passive voice? Sometimes it's because we don't want to accuse anyone, and we don't want to focus on the people. We just want to focus on the problem, or we want to focus on the situation. So a different way to focus on different things. I'm going fast here. You can look at it. I've included it in Moodle, but that's the general idea that you need to remember. The passive is for talking about things indirectly, or for talking about things and objects and situations, and not talking about people doing things, right? Right, passive, the passive construction. Okay, here's the recipe here. So basically you add the verb to be plus the past participle. What's the past participle? It's that ed I was talking to you about, the ed. Past participle, so we had the original example. It was digest, right? So digested. But if you have a verb like eat, the past participle is eat, ate, eaten. It's that eaten. So let's go back to the original and say eat instead. He was eating a donut. What's going to happen with that? Well, instead of the ed, we're going to have an irregular. We're going to have to find a way. And let's see. A donut was being eaten. Eaten would have been the past participle, the irregular verb version of this example. I hope this has helped. I wanted to keep it short and quick, and I hope that you're going to be okay with that. And of course, you want to talk about it, you want to have more information about it, just let me know. I'm right here.